All right. Hey, everybody. I hope everything's going well. So it's 2 more days until the Fugue Estate is released. Again, you can check out, you can get A Curve for Death, the first book in this series, at a discount during this week and next week. So check that out. Make sure you don't miss anything with that book. Just to start out with, just in case, my name is Daniel Poppie. I'm an author from southeastern Wisconsin. I write to entertain people. I want people to get lost in my books and just be able to take a break from the world. I like the idea of escapism. I think it's important to life. I think that a lot of books coming out right now are trying to make themselves relevant to what's happening in the moment instead of being relevant to just life in general, if that makes sense. I don't know. I think people are trying to make things relevant to what's happening in the moment, and books that are classics, books that actually impact people, are relevant all the time because they don't actually try to hit people about things that are happening in the moment, if that makes sense. So my goal is kind of like, you can get away for a few hours, you can enjoy the book. Think of it like an airport book. Again, A Curve for Death is on sale this week and next week, so you can pick it up if you haven't yet. This is what the book looks like. It's a little book. So even if you're not a reader, it might be something you want to read, just saying. This series is dark. It's a dark detective noir series. It's a gothic horror type series. Gothic horror isn't scary, so don't worry. And it falls in line with stuff like H.P. Lovecraft, different things like that. It falls in line with these like 1920s tough guy type detective stories. And there's other stories that have been told more recently that are similar to this as well. I would say that Watchmen is another story that is still in that genre. It's kind of this noir type genre. And actually one of the main characters who you follow right away is a detective who wears a fedora and a trench coat. Actually, he's just a twisted, weird detective. So let me see. Let me make sure I don't miss anything. So again, this second book is called The Fugue Estate. And this book is about, actually, I'm skipping over stuff, people. This book is actually about Arthur meeting with a woman, and the woman says that, I have the wrong notes. That's what's happening right now. The woman says that her sister is missing, so Arthur goes to investigate, and then he actually discovers some weird things in the sister's room. But he discovers that the sister is not actually missing, and that's where the mystery starts. And I think it's a fun little mystery, and I think you should check it out because I actually think it's a good book. I think that it's a good book, and I think that the first one is good too. So if you haven't been able to check it out, you should as well. Oh, that's the wrong one as well. See, what's happening is I'm trying to open up a file because I have notes on it because I don't want to miss stuff. But what's happening is I open up the wrong one, multiple different questions. So I'm going to have the cover reveal right now. So here is the cover of The Fugue Estate. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about covers because I have a question about covers. So I'm going to leave this up on the screen, and I'm going to be talking about how the cover is made or my process for that, because I don't have a process for that. All right, who does your covers? I don't do my covers. I think that I could make a cover that is passable, but I could not make a cover that is this good, right? I'm not a designer. I mean, I could learn some stuff about design, but I couldn't make a cover that's this good, or I couldn't make a cover that is as good as the Fugue Estate either, because I don't think about how everything fits together. A friend of mine does my covers, and if you want to do self-publishing, I think he's like $1,000 a cover or something like that. Just saying, just helping him out there. And I have a friend who's a graphic designer who does my covers, so I enlisted him to do the covers, okay? And he's what I did with this is I knew him from before. He's a friend of mine, and then I asked him about it, and then I sent him a video about the project I was doing with these 6 different books over 6 months, right? And I sent him this video. I said, this is what I'm thinking. This is how I'm doing it. This is how I want to approach setting everything up, writing the book, marketing, reaching out to people, getting people to read the book, trying to grow the audience of the book. And he's just like, yeah, let's do it. So not everybody is going to be able to have a graphic design friend, a friend who does graphic design, who is willing to partner with me to do it, or partner with them to do it, excuse me. But at the same time, there are different tools you can use online to create covers that actually look good. I would actually not suggest using Amazon's cover creation tool. I would suggest making a cover outside of Amazon, figuring out what you need, and then importing it in. It'll take you some time. Otherwise, just find someone who is good at designing even moderately, and they probably can put together a cover for you that looks pretty good. So how does the formatting of the book look so good? So the formatting is done by my wife, and it's done in InDesign. And I don't want to say that she's doing a bad job. I actually think she's doing a great job at the formatting of the book, at any of these books. So the formatting looks really legit, right? I'm just going to show you how it looks. This is the first page, and there are style guides. There are style guides that you can find on the internet. There are people who put out a lot of information about industry standards in terms of formatting, and you can get really meticulous about things. So one of the meticulous things about the industry standard is that the final digits on your the numbers on your table of contents line up, right? The page numbers, the final digits on those page numbers line up. So she did it in InDesign, and actually using InDesign, and InDesign is an Adobe product like Photoshop, and we have Adobe products because we need it for something else. My wife does another, I guess you'd call it artwork. She does another form of artwork that you need InDesign, and you don't need InDesign. She needs other Adobe products is what I'm saying. And InDesign comes with the suite, so we're using InDesign for this, and it actually makes it really simple. I know there's other ways of formatting out there. I think that to a certain degree it is better to just, if you have the money, if you have the ability to spend money on it, then use that. Otherwise, there are other ways to format the book as well. But it's not rocket science to put it together, and it's really a matter of being able to see all the little details that'll go into making the book look great. And she made it look great. Let's just say that. So next question, do you self-publish? Why is it hard to self-publish? And I might not answer the last question exactly, but I might touch on it. I do self-publish, and I have a very good reason for self-publishing. So regular publishing takes forever. And when I read books that are on the market, the majority of books that get published are mediocre. All right, and I'm not saying I'm the best writer out there, because I don't think I'm the best writer out there, but I think that I'm at least better than those mediocre books. And when you go through the process of, I don't like gatekeepers. I'm not a big fan of gatekeepers. And there's at least two sets of gatekeepers when you're going through the publishing process. First, there's the gatekeeper of the agent. If you want to get a good publisher, you have to go through an agent who has connections, right? The second hoop is the publisher themselves. You have to get a publisher. The agent finds a publisher. The agent has to have connections. The agent has to make the pitch to the publisher, and the publisher has to say, okay. First of all, that takes quite a bit of time. Second of all, it's very arbitrary. I mean, there is a level of writing you do need to meet if you are writing books. But, someone might take your book because they like what you're talking about, all right? And that's not necessarily bad. But in the end, I don't really care what agents or publishers think about my books. I care what readers think about my books. So if I have people who are readers who like my books, and they can help me find more readers to like my books, then I don't see the point of going through a publisher. And if we are in a phenomenal time in terms of publishing, because it puts the power in the hands of the writer. And I want to learn everything about the publishing industry. I want to learn about how to write a book. I want to learn about how to put it together. I want to learn about how to coordinate with other people, whether that be a graphic designer, whether that be a copy editor, whether that be a content editor, whether that be a marketer, a publicist, etc. And I've learned tons of stuff along the way, and I wouldn't change it, right? I wouldn't go back in time and decide that I was going to go through a publisher, because why wouldn't I want to know more about the industry I'm trying to get into, And with this, Amazon and different platforms give you a way to reach readers directly. And when you listen to a band that is from a big producer, the band doesn't get a lot of money. And a lot of bands lament the fact that they don't get a lot of money. That's why there's an indie music scene, right? Because the band can create music, or the individual musical artist can create music, and then that artist can connect to the listeners share the music around, and then that artist is the person who is making and producing their music and then selling it, if that makes sense, right? And then they are getting all the money from the work that they've done with publishing, with any time you're going through a third party. I'm going through 2 steps when I do regular publishing. Anytime you are doing that, you are required, you're not getting paid by the people who like your stuff directly. They're paying the publisher's paying you a little tiny cut of that. And I'm not money hungry. I'm not like, hey, I want all the money. At the same time, I think that if a person is making something, they should get the biggest chunk of that, because though they might not have the marketing chops, they are creating the value there, right? If people like what they are doing, then that value has been created. And if you are a good enough writer, if you think you're a good enough writer, I would encourage you to go out on your own. Because first of all, you're going to get more of a chunk of the profits, right? You might get 100% if you're able to completely produce your book by yourself, right? If you have a printing press in the basement, you'll be fine, right? You'll get 100% of the profits. You'll have to spend money up front, but you'll get 100% of the profits. But if you are, you get more of the money, but you get more of control of the book as well. And it used to be the case when printing presses became popular, it gave power to people to create their own books more and create them quicker, right? It allowed them to do that. The internet did even more, and now we have platforms that allow the writer to go through the entire process. And honestly, I would encourage you to check out indie books. Not because I'm trying to push my books, okay? I would encourage you to check out indie books because I'm not a fan of power being concentrated, and I'm sure that you're not a fan of power being concentrated in small groups, right? And indie books, you might be thinking, well, they go through Amazon, they go through Barnes & Noble, those are big companies. Yeah, but those big companies are giving individuals more power than the publishers, the big publishers. And that those companies are actually allowing some of those, and me hopefully, to actually completely detach from them if they get big enough, right? So you're empowering individual authors. You're doing a lot more for individual authors if you try to look for indie books. And there's a lot of good indie writers out there. You just have to find them. There's a lot of stuff to work through. My plan in the future is to make a list of indie authors people should look into, and my hope is that we can bring reading indie books to the forefront, and I can continue, and people around me can continue to promote other indie authors who just do a great job at writing, who don't need to go through big publishers because they're just good enough writers, right? That's kind of my goal. So what I would encourage you to do, if you have any issues with an indie author, is check out the first book. It's on sale. It's not very expensive. It's a few bucks for Kindle, right? It's a few bucks for Kindle, or it's a few bucks for Nook if you want to grab it on Barnes & Noble. It's a few bucks. And then if you don't like what I do, if you don't like my writing, then you can be like, hey, I don't want this anymore. I'm not going to support you. And that's fine with me, because not everything I write is something that everybody's going to enjoy. All right, so a few last things then. First off, remember the book, A Cure for Death, is on sale this week and next week. Grab that book if you haven't already. It's not going to be on sale forever. It's just going to be on sale for 2 weeks. Besides that, the link for that is in the description. I'm just trying to make sure I hit everything. If you don't want to miss anything from what I'm doing, sign up for my newsletter. It's a way that you can help me a lot, right? It's a big help. It shows me support. It's tough going out on your own and doing stuff. It's tough sticking your neck out and being like, I'm trying this, because that's what I'm doing. I'm essentially just, part of this process is me being like, I think I can do that. Let's just try it. Let's just see if it works. And people who sign up for the newsletter are showing me that they're supporting me in that way if they sign up. If you don't feel comfortable signing up for the newsletter, if you're like, I don't want to get the emails, then but I still want to support you, then I would encourage you to like this video, and I would encourage you to share this video, because that's another way. So if you don't want to sign up for the newsletter, like and share this video. It's a really big help to me. The book is going to be available on sale until the 5th, and I will be sending out something about how the week is going to work the next 5 days and how long it's going to be on sale and what it's going to be on sale for first. So it might be a little bit of a repeat from last month, but that is what is happening. So I hope that is helpful. Again, sign up for my newsletter, like and share this video. It's a big help to me, and I hope to see some pictures of books coming through, because that's always a big encouragement. And I hope you like this book as much or more than the first book.